Welcome back to the J.F.K. channel. I appreciate you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. All the people who subbed up, I really appreciate it. If you haven't subbed up, go sub up. Make sure you like the video and all that. And all the super thankers out there, I really appreciate you. That helps with the creative process and it supports us. Thank you.
His girlfriend? No, I think she's passed away.
Testimony revealed
came from Jennifer
McCabe, January 29th,
2022.
Michael Parker.
She got him donuts.
She got him donuts. I drove to 34th Fairview. 6 donuts.
Donuts.
I've been doing it for years.
Also, all the people who signed up for the memberships, I appreciate you. I got a lot of great things coming behind the scenes. You ain't gonna wanna miss it. Thank you again. And if you're wondering what the membership's all about, we got 3 donuts. We got 6 donuts.
Donuts.
6 donuts? 6 donuts. And we got a dozen of fuckery donuts. And with that being said, Fuckery Donuts is now open.
Donuts.
You know, Paul is in a state of mind where he thinks that when she got arraigned
In Stoughton District Court, her attorney, David Unetti, had said this is a tragic accident. His client had no criminal intent. And then, you know,
Their story that they concocted and put together,
and that's not what it was, Paul. You know, that's not what it was at all. She was charged with these charges. He learned on the fly. He's got to come up with a bail strategy. You know, there's different strategies when you're a lawyer. You know, a lawyer is no different than a writer, right? He writes things up, he studies things, and he's got to get into different modes for different things, whether it's a trial issue, whether it's a bail issue, whether it's a motion to suppress, a probable cause hearing. There's different nuances that he has to go through. He has to get into a different frame of mind. That's what lawyers do. Now think about it. It's a bail hearing. He's got to get her bail. His goal is to get her out of there. So you think when he went on the courthouse steps, right, Paul?
My client has no criminal intent. She loved this man. She is devastated at what happened, and she is innocent.
He was saying that she hit him. He never said that, Paul. He said there was no intent. He was talking about the charges itself. You don't think that Karen down there in that holding cell, or prior when she talked to him on the phone, was doing this? Talking about Higgins and Jen McCabe and the bar and going totally in about the corruption? And you know what Unetti had to do at that point, Paul? He had to slow her down and be like, hey, we can't fit that all in on a bail hearing. We got to stick to the facts. There's no intent. You're not a flight risk. You worked your whole life. You got medical issues. You're going to show up to court. That's all it's about. Different steps, Paul. But you want to run with that. The parallel, a lawyer is like a writer. He's got to get into a mode. And if you're a writer, a poet, like myself, you got to memorize things and you got to make it seem natural and organic because you have jurors, you have judges. You have to make this get over. And when I say get over, you have to convince them. You have to make a good argument. You have to be good at what you do. Ordinary people don't look at it that deep. You hear a Phil Collins song, you're not thinking about this guy who dedicated his whole life to this, right, Paul? You're just hearing a song. Just like when you seen that bail hearing, all you seen was a guy say she had no intent. It gets a little deeper than that, Paul. Trust and believe me. You know, since this case is going to the movies, Netflix, the big screen, it's gonna be documentaries, docuseries, it's gonna be all over the place. I decided, hey, why not hit the theater? You know, I feel like a lonely juror, actually. How am I looking? How's everybody doing out there? Wow. You know, I thought maybe call my boy Maki up. Maki from Dorchester, Big Bad Brian A. You know, the one you want to be like? Yeah, and Patriots Day. I thought maybe I should call him up and see if he wants to do the movie.
Ted, you just said part two.
Ted 2. Say Ted 2.
Ted part 2. Start rolling over again.
Then you talked about how Karen wanted to throw the oven on and get some pizza. She was all happy. But you know, Chris, that's a lie. It's a lie, because look at the timeline. They got there at 10:55. They left at 12 o'clock. There was something brewing there. There was smoke, buddy. Nobody was happy. Karen wasn't happy. She wasn't like, hey, let's go get pizza. But you know, when you did mention it, she probably thought, hey, let's go do that. It's in the square. It's not too far from John's house. You know, it's funny. You probably seen the fear in her face, right, Chris? Probably seen when she said, no, let's go to the pizza shop. Probably gave you that look, right, Chris? Like, no, let's go make pizzas. And you denied it. You denied it, Chris. Of course she was scared. She wanted to curb that whole situation. Maybe this is a way out. This is what anybody who's scared would be thinking. You set this whole shit up, Chris, eh? You enjoying this movie so far? How about you?
I was awake, and I could have been looking at my phone.
If Cannoni does throw the murder charge out and they go back to the manslaughter, I think they should put Karenread on the stand. If you have a criminal record, it's not a good idea to get on the stand because they're just gonna throw your criminal record in your face, but she has no criminal record. And if they do charge her with manslaughter this time around, I think she should go on the stand. And she should fill in all these little blanks that I'm filling in for you. And she comes out and talks about Higgins, because that's what this is all about. It's that simple. Higgins at 11:32 threw the first blow. He texted her when she was with her man. He was looking for a reaction. Brian A. was whispering in his ear. 11:47, they're play fighting. 11:55, 11:56, there's a kiss. 11:58, what's going on? Come on. And like I said, the first person, he started doing the heel toe, like he's jumping rope, like he's in the ring, a boxer's dance, heel toe. Then at 12:20, you text him, are you coming here? It's that simple. Now, why wouldn't Yannetti and Alan Jackson just zone in on that? You know, if I was Alan Jackson, I would just ask Higgins a simple question. Do you think it was wrong talking to your friend's girlfriend behind his back? Do you, Higgins? Huh, Higgins? Do you think it was wrong? Hey, everybody in here, do you think it was wrong? Am I the only one here? What's going on? I just wanted some fucking donuts.
He has cameras everywhere.
I responded, I don't need drama, dude.
That's what I would ask him. Do you think it was wrong? And then I would ask him, how long you been a police officer for? Wow, that's a long time, Higgins. And in these situations when friends backstab friends, especially when there's a female involved, does it usually end up in a court case or a fight, some type of violence? Can it escalate in your years of being a police officer? Can it, Higgins, escalate? Have you ever seen something like that, Higgins? Some people overdo it. And I'm not trying to overdo it. I'm just speaking my piece. Like I told you, this is a front row seat to the law, to getting railroaded. You're seeing it again. Judge Beverly ain't throwing this out. She's not throwing the murder conviction out. She never even mentioned if the jury found Karen not guilty of murder. And she continued it, and she put the retrial on for January 27th. There's no interest in justice, Cannoni. Now you have a second chance to do the right thing, Beverly Cannoni. You should do it. You should do it, because you know what's really going on. Fair to say? Because they didn't bring up the manslaughter at the beginning of the trial. It was just murder. But they snuck it in there right at the end and say, hey, by the way, if you don't charge her with the murder, you could charge her for the manslaughter. If you feel in any way that she dropped him off And her actions that night by drinking and talking to Higgins and being this way led to his death. You can charge her. So look at it that way. They snuck that in there and they got away with it. And they can't make that mistake again. They have to be more transparent. You got to make a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you hope that people pay attention and people rewind and come back. And that's what they was expected from this jury, that they were going to hit rewind and there was replay value and they were going to go through it all, but they were confused. She knew that it was bad news going to 34 Fairview. She could sense it. Why'd he send the text at 11:32? You know, at the end of part 3, I talked about the whole bar scene. Karen and John got to the bar around 10:55 or so. And immediately John walked right up to Higgins and gave him a hug. And at that moment, Higgins didn't know what to say. And when you look at the video, you know, you see John give Higgins a hug. You see Karen walk that way, don't you? She don't want no part of you, Higgins. But you were thinking in your mind, what does John know? Is there gonna be a problem? Or do you wanna make a problem?
Michael Proctor could have written text messages that he didn't know would go public, that he regrets sending. That does not nullify
the evidence
that says that
Johnny was hit by a weapon.